I still remember that day. The day I finally walked out of the hospital after what felt like an endless month. My body was weak, my steps shaky, and my heart heavy with worry. The sun was low, casting long shadows over the streets, and everything seemed quieter than it should. Even the birds sounded tired. I thought about how much I had missed my home, my little routines, the smell of my kitchen, the creak of the old floorboards. I thought about my son, about seeing him smile again. I imagined he would rush to the door when he saw me, give me a hug, tell me everything was fine. But deep down, a strange unease crawled inside me, whispering that something wasn't right. When I reached the gate of my house, I paused. The paint looked newer, the garden seemed changed. My heart began to race. Maybe they just fixed a few things, I told myself, trying to calm the strange tightness in my chest. I pushed the door open and froze. It didn't feel like my home anymore. There were new furniture pieces, ornaments I had never seen, and a strange smell of perfume that didn't belong. My son appeared from the living room, smiling awkwardly. "Mom, you're home," he said, his voice hesitant. Hesitant? That alone made my stomach churn. The moment felt wrong, as if I had stepped into someone else's life. I missed you," I whispered, moving closer. But he didn't hug me. He didn't. Instead, he took a step back as if keeping a careful distance. Then he said something I will never forget. "Mom, there's something I need to tell you." I felt a sudden cold rush through me, like the air itself had turned against me. My mind raced. What could it be? Had something happened to the house while I was in the hospital? Was this about money or bills or something worse? He avoided my eyes, looking down at the floor. "The house. I gave it. To my wife's family?" The words hit me like a punch. My hands trembled. My legs almost gave out beneath me. "What do you mean?" "You gave it away," I asked, my voice breaking. The world seemed to tilt, and all the air rushed out of my lungs. I wanted to scream, to cry, to understand how he could do this while I was struggling to survive. He mumbled something about promises, debts, and family. But I couldn't focus. The room spun around me, and I could hear only the blood rushing in my ears. Every memory of this house, every corner, every smell, every sound screamed betrayal. Then, just as I thought I might collapse, my son's phone buzzed on the table. He picked it up quickly, his face pale. "It's them?" he whispered, almost to himself. I didn't understand. "Them," I demanded. But before he could answer, the doorbell rang. I froze. Who could it be at this hour? My heart pounded faster. I had just returned from the hospital, weak and disoriented, and now someone wanted to come in. I walked slowly to the door, my hands shaking as I reached for the handle. And then I saw them standing there. I still remember that day. Standing in front of the door, my hand frozen on the handle. My heart pounding so loudly I was sure they could hear it. The people outside weren't strangers, not exactly. But they weren't my family either. Their eyes were sharp, cold, and calculating, like they had been waiting for this exact moment. "Hello," I said, my voice trembling, trying to keep it steady. My son stepped beside me, his body tense, and I realized he was scared too. I had never seen him like this before. The man at the door spoke first. "We're here for the house," he said flatly, without a hint of greeting. His words were like ice, slicing through the air. My stomach sank. "The house," I repeated, my voice barely audible. "This is my home." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Not anymore," he said. And then the woman beside him added, "Your son signed everything over. It's ours now." I wanted to scream. I wanted to push them out. But my body was weak from the hospital, my mind spinning. I felt my knees shake as if they might give out at any second. My son looked at me, helpless. "Mom, I didn't know how to say it." His voice was small, almost a whisper. I shook my head. "Didn't know how to say it?" I echoed, my hands clutching the doorframe. "You gave away everything we had. While I was sick. While I was fighting to stay alive." He swallowed hard, eyes darting to the floor. "They needed it. It was complicated. I thought it was the right thing. His words stumbled out, but I couldn't hear them properly. All I could feel was the betrayal, the anger, the sadness crushing me like a heavy stone. The visitors stepped inside, moving as if they owned the place. My kitchen, my living room, my favorite chairs, they touched everything with a sense of entitlement that made me sick. I could feel tears burning in my eyes. "This is wrong," I said, my voice louder now, trembling but firm. "This isn't just property. This is my life, my memories, everything I fought for." The man ignored me. "The papers are signed," he said, almost mockingly. "It's final." I could see the confidence in his eyes, the power he felt standing over me. A woman just back from the hospital, weak and alone. My son didn't stop them. He just stood there looking down, silent. I wanted to collapse to the floor, but I forced myself to stand tall. "You don't understand," I said, my voice cracking. "This house. This is more than walls and furniture. This is where my family lived, where my son grew up, where I dreamed of retiring peacefully. You can't just take it." They looked at me like I was an obstacle, a child throwing a tantrum. And in that moment, I realized my son had chosen them over me. The person I raised, the son I loved, had betrayed me. Then, suddenly, my son's phone buzzed again. He glanced at it, frowning, and whispered something under his breath. I couldn't hear clearly, but the man noticed it too. His eyes narrowed. "What is that?" he demanded. Before anyone could answer, the lights flickered. A low hum filled the house, like electricity surging in the walls. I stepped back, startled. The visitors froze, their eyes scanning the room. My son's hands shook as he held the phone, staring at the screen with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Then a voice came through the phone, a voice I knew all too well. Calm, steady, but full of warning. "If you take a single step further, there will be consequences you can't imagine." I froze. My son's face turned pale. The man and woman looked at each other, confusion and panic flashing in their eyes. I didn't understand everything, but I felt something shift. The air grew heavier, charged with tension, and for the first time I realized this wasn't just about the house. Something bigger, something darker had begun. The visitors backed away slowly, their confidence faltering. I could see fear in their eyes now, and I knew deep inside that my life had just changed in ways I couldn't yet imagine. Then the doorbell rang again. My heart skipped a beat. Who could it be this time? Another threat? Someone coming to make things worse? I glanced at my son, but he looked just as terrified. The house, my home, felt like a trap now, and when I opened the door, what I saw made me question everything I thought I knew about my family, my son, and even myself. I still remember that day, the moment I opened the door to see who or what was waiting outside. My heart was racing so fast I thought it might burst from my chest. The figure standing there was unexpected, and for a moment, couldn't even breathe. It was an older woman with kind but tired eyes holding a small box close to her chest. She looked at me as if she had been carrying something heavy for a very long time. My son stepped back, confused and hesitant. "Mom!" he started, but I didn't listen. All my attention was on her. "Are you the owner of this house?" she asked softly. Her voice was calm, almost soothing, but there was something in it that made me shiver. "Yes," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I am." She took a careful step forward. "I was sent here," she said, "to deliver something important. Something your son might not want you to see." My stomach twisted. My son's eyes widened, and I realized he was afraid not of her, but of what she might reveal. My hands trembled as I reached for the box. It was heavier than I expected. I felt the weight of it as if it carried years of secrets. "What is this?" I asked, my voice cracking. The woman looked at me and then at my son. "This belongs to your family," she said. "But someone tried to take it from you. Someone you trusted." My son's face turned pale. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. I opened the box slowly. Inside I found papers, letters, and photographs I had never seen before. And then a note. Written in handwriting I immediately recognized. It said, If anything happens to your mother while she is away, the house must be handed over to us. No exceptions." My hands froze. My mind reeled. I had no idea what this meant. Who was us? And why did my son follow this order without telling me? I looked at him, anger, confusion, and heartbreak battling inside me. "Why?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Why didn't you tell me?" He swallowed hard, tears glistening in his eyes. I didn't know how. They threatened me. They said if I didn't do exactly what they wanted, you wouldn't make it back from the hospital." The words hit me like a sledgehammer. Fear, shock, and betrayal mixed inside me. I felt my knees weaken, and I had to grab the door frame to stay upright. "Threatened you? Who? Who are they?" The woman looked at me, her eyes steady and serious. "They are a family with power, and they have wanted this house for a long time. They thought your absence was the perfect opportunity, but they didn't count on me delivering this first." My son stepped back, shaking his head. "Mom, I didn't want to, but I had no choice. They said you would never survive if I disobeyed." I felt a shiver run down my spine. The house, my life, my family. It was all tangled in secrets and threats I had never imagined. I realized, with a sinking heart, that I had just stepped into something far bigger than a simple betrayal. And then the woman said something that made my blood run cold. "They know you're back, and they will come for the house. And for you." My hands gripped the box tighter. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. "Come for me? Who are they? What do they want?" I whispered, almost unable to speak. She shook her head slowly. "I cannot say everything now, but you must prepare. You cannot stay here alone." The sound of a car engine outside made us all freeze. My son ran to the window and peeked through the curtain. I saw black vehicles pulling up to the driveway, their windows darkened, their presence heavy and threatening. My chest tightened. I felt the walls of my home close in on me. For the first time, I realized that this was not just about the house anymore. It was about survival, about protecting myself and my family from forces I didn't even fully understand. The woman turned to me and whispered urgently, "Go, take what you need. Get out before they come inside." I wanted to argue. I wanted to stay and confront whoever was outside. But deep down, I knew she was right. I grabbed the box, my legs shaking with every step, and looked at my son. "We have to leave." Now, he nodded silently, fear written all over his face. We moved toward the back door, hearts racing, senses alert. The black cars were closer now. I could hear footsteps approaching the front door as we slipped out into the shadows of the backyard. I knew one thing for certain. The life I had known was over, and whatever awaited us outside the walls of my home. It was only the beginning. I still remember that day. The moment we slipped out into the backyard, hearts pounding, the dark shapes of the black vehicles looming closer. The cool night air hit my face, but it didn't bring relief. Every sound, the rustling of leaves, the creak of the fence, the hum of distant engines felt amplified. My legs shook, my chest heaving with panic, yet I forced myself to keep moving. My son whispered, "Mom, we need to find a safe place. They can't know where we're going." I nodded, gripping the box tightly. Every instinct in me screamed that we were being hunted, and I had no choice but to follow him. I had always thought of him as my little boy, the one I taught to ride a bike and read bedtime stories. But now, he was the one guiding me, keeping me alive. We ran through the narrow alley behind the house, shadows swallowing us, until we reached the small shed at the far end of the yard. I'd almost forgotten it existed. My son pulled open the door, revealing a dusty, cramped space that smelled of old wood and oil. It wasn't much, but it was hidden, and that was all that mattered. We crawled inside, breathing heavily, listening. The footsteps outside slowed for a moment, and I held my breath, heart in my throat. Then I heard a voice, low, sharp, commanding. "Check the backyard. They have to be here." I flinched. That was them. They were searching for us. My son pressed himself against the wall, pulling me close. "Mom, we can't stay here long. They'll find us if we do." I nodded silently, trying to calm myself. I felt like a trapped animal, but I couldn't panic. Not yet. I needed to think. I needed to survive. My hands still shook from fear, and the box felt heavier than ever, as if it held the weight of all our troubles. Then my son whispered something I didn't expect. "Mom, I need to tell you the truth about why they wanted the house. It's not just about money. It's about something else. Something dangerous." I froze. Dangerous. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He hesitated, looking down at the floor. They're after something my father left behind. Something hidden in this house. And they've been waiting for me to give it to them while you were gone." The blood drained from my face. Hidden? What hidden thing? My father, you mean? Something he left for you. He swallowed hard, nodding. Yes, something powerful. Something they want, and they will stop at nothing to get it. That's why they forced me to hand over the house. That's why they came here tonight. I felt like the ground had dropped beneath me. All my fear, all my anger at my son, all the betrayal I felt. It seemed small compared to what he had just told me. There was something inside this house, something dangerous. And now it was being hunted. I held the box closer, my mind spinning. Do we have to run? Can't we? Fight back? He shook his head. Not yet. We're weak. They have numbers, weapons, power. We need a plan. We need allies. A sudden noise made us both freeze, metal scraping against metal. I peeked through a crack in the shed door. Two figures were moving slowly around the backyard, scanning every corner, carrying something long and shiny. I recognized them now. They were not ordinary intruders. Their movements were precise, trained. My stomach churned. I whispered, trembling, Son, what do we do now?" He glanced at me, his face pale but determined. "We wait and we watch. But we can't stay here much longer. Soon they'll find a way in." The box in my hands felt heavier than ever. I realized then that the fate of everything I had loved, my home, my memories, my family was tied to what was inside it. And if they found it, I didn't want to imagine what would happen next. Suddenly, a sound came from behind the shed, a faint, deliberate tapping. Slow, intentional. My blood ran cold. It wasn't just the intruders outside. Someone or something was inside the property, watching us. Waiting, I clutched the box to my chest and whispered, barely audible, "They're inside." I still remember that day. The sound of tapping behind the shed made my heart freeze. My hands clutched the box so tightly it felt as if I were holding my very life in them. My son's face was pale, his eyes wide with fear, yet he tried to stay calm. He whispered, "Mom, stay quiet. Don't make a sound." We pressed ourselves into the shadows, barely breathing, listening to every movement outside and inside the yard. The tapping continued, soft, deliberate, almost like a warning. It made the hairs on my arms stand on end. Whoever it was, they were close. Too close. I could feel the sweat running down my back, my muscles tense. My mind raced. How did they know where we were hiding? How had they found the shed so quickly? The fear that had been simmering since I left the hospital surged into a cold, heavy panic. Then I heard a whisper. Low, almost a hiss. My son's eyes met mine. "Did you hear that?" he asked. I nodded, too frightened to speak. It wasn't a human voice. Or at least, it didn't sound fully human. There was something strange, a metallic edge to it, like it was filtered through some machine. The tapping stopped. Silence fell. But it wasn't a peaceful silence. It was tense, charged, as if the air itself were holding its breath. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. I gripped the box even tighter, my nails digging into the edges, and then something moved inside the shed. A shadow flickered across the wall. I gasped softly, and my son immediately put a finger to his lips. The shadow grew larger, stretching along the walls. I realized it was not just a shadow, it was a person. Or something that looked like a person. "Mom?" "Stay down," my son whispered urgently. "If they see us, we're done. We can't fight them." I nodded, trying to steady my breathing. My body was shaking, my mind screaming, but I forced myself to be still. Every sound, the wind in the trees, the creak of the shed door, the soft hum from outside was magnified. My chest felt tight, my hands cold. Then a voice came from the shadow. Clear, commanding, familiar. My heart stopped. Give it to me. I froze. Something inside me recoiled. How did they know about the box? My son's eyes widened in horror. Mom, don't. The shadow moved closer. I could see the outline now, the way it glided rather than walked, smooth and unnatural. I realized with terror that this was not an ordinary person. This was someone or something far beyond what we had imagined. I held the box tighter to my chest, backing toward the corner. No, it's mine. Stay away. My voice shook, but I tried to sound strong. The figure stopped. You don't understand what's inside, it said. Give it, and no one gets hurt. I looked at my son. He was pale, eyes filled with fear and something else, guilt. I never wanted this, Mom, he whispered. I didn't know it would come to this. I shook my head, tears blurring my vision. You should have told me. You should have protected me. The figure stepped closer, and the shed seemed smaller, the walls closing in. My hands shook violently, and I could hear my own heart beating like a drum in my ears. I realized that if we didn't act now, if we didn't move fast, we could lose everything. A sudden noise outside made us both freeze. The black vehicles had moved closer, engines humming low and threatening. I realized with horror that the intruders weren't just in the yard, they were surrounding the house. Our hiding place had been compromised. My son grabbed my hand. We have to leave now. I nodded, but I hesitated. The box, my life, everything we had fought for, was in my arms. I couldn't just leave it. But if I stayed, we would die. The shadow moved again, reaching toward me with long, unnatural fingers. I screamed, and my son pulled me toward the back gate. As we ran into the dark, cold night, I could feel the presence behind us, gliding silently, relentless. The yard, our safe haven moments ago, had turned into a trap, and then I heard it a whisper directly in my ear, almost inside my mind. You cannot hide from what belongs to us. My blood ran cold. My legs burned, my lungs ached, and yet we ran through the darkness. Not knowing what was hunting us, not knowing if we would survive the night. I still remember that day. Running through the dark backyard, the cold night air biting my face, my chest heaving as if it might burst from my ribs. The box in my arms felt heavier than ever, weighed down not just by its contents, but by the fear and responsibility it carried. My son ran beside me, silent, except for the sound of his own ragged breathing. We reached the edge of the property, and for a moment I thought we were safe. The shadows of the trees hid us, and the black cars had stopped, waiting at the gate. But that sense of relief lasted only a heartbeat. A whisper echoed through the air, soft but terrifying, carrying across the lawn. You cannot run forever. I felt a chill creep up my spine. My son glanced at me, eyes wide with panic. Mom, they're faster than we are. We can't outrun them if they want to catch us. I tightened my grip on the box, determination flashing through my fear. Then we won't just run. We'll fight. Somehow, we'll fight. He looked at me, unsure. Mom, fight. We're weak, unprepared. They have power we can't even imagine. I shook my head, tears stinging my eyes. We have each other. That has to be enough. We crept through the trees at the edge of the yard, moving toward the small path that led out of our neighborhood. The ground was uneven, wet from the night dew, and every snap of a twig made me flinch. I could feel the presence behind us, silent, relentless, never stopping. Then, out of nowhere, a low hum filled the air. The shadows ahead twisted, like they were alive. My son stopped abruptly. Mom, look. Through the darkness, a faint blue glow appeared. It came from the box. I froze. I hadn't noticed it before. The box. It was reacting to something illuminating the symbols etched into its surface. My heart raced. Whatever was inside. It wasn't just valuable, it was alive, in some sense. Connected to the danger that was chasing us before I could react. A figure emerged from the darkness, a tall, armored silhouette moving faster than any human should. Its eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the blue light from the box. It didn't speak. It didn't run. Glided. And I realized with terror that it had been hunting us the entire time. Waiting for the right moment to strike, my son grabbed my hand. "We can't fight that," he said, voice shaking. "We have to hide. Or we die." I looked around desperately. The trees offered little cover. The path led straight toward the street, but beyond it, who knew what lay waiting? I could hear the vehicles moving again, engines revving low and menacing. Then something incredible happened. The box pulsed brighter, and a sudden energy shot through me as if it were alive. I felt strength surge into my limbs, clarity into my mind. The figure stopped for a moment, as if sensing the power. My son looked at me, astonished. "Mom, what's happening?" "I don't know," I whispered, my voice firm, despite the fear. "But I think it wants me to use it. Maybe it's protecting us." The armored figure took a step forward, and I felt an invisible force push against me, forcing me to steady myself. The blue light grew stronger, almost blinding. My fear turned into resolve. Whatever this thing was, whatever danger was chasing us, we were not powerless. But then, from the edge of the trees, a new sound emerged. Low, menacing laugh, cold and cruel, echoing across the yard. The black vehicle's engines roared to life again, headlights cutting through the darkness. More figures emerged, surrounding us now from all sides. I clutched the box, feeling its hum resonate with my heartbeat. I looked at my son. "We have to do this together," I said, voice shaking but firm. "No matter what happens, we fight. We survive. We protect what's ours." The armored figure moved closer. The other intruders closed in. My chest burned, my legs ached, but I knew we had no choice. The secret in the box. The reason they had come. It was now in my hands. And then, with a sudden, terrifying speed, the armored figure lunged forward. I still remember that day. The moment the armored figure lunged at us, the world seemed to slow. My heart hammered in my chest, every nerve screaming, every muscle tensed. I clutched the box closer, feeling it thrumming in my hands like it had a heartbeat of its own. My son grabbed my arm, holding on as if together we could face whatever was coming. The figure moved with impossible speed, gliding across the ground like it had no weight. Its glowing eyes fixed on the box, its every motion precise, deadly. I could feel the coldness radiating from it, like ice creeping along my skin. I wanted to scream, to run, to do anything, but I was frozen, terrified, and yet something inside me stirred. The box pulsed brighter, almost violently, and I felt a surge of energy rush through me. My fear didn't vanish, but it transformed into something else. Strength, clarity, resolve. I realized then that whatever was inside that box wasn't just powerful, it was alive, connected to me, and it wanted me to use it. The armored figure lunged again, and instinctively I raised the box. A blue light shot out from it, blinding and intense. The figure stumbled back, letting out a mechanical shriek that sounded like metal scraping against metal. I felt the energy from the box course through my arms, my body, my mind. I could see clearly, think clearly, move quickly. My son stared at me wide-eyed. "Mom, what's happening?" "I don't know." I shouted, adrenaline surging. "But it's protecting us." The figure recovered and lunged again. This time I focused, letting the energy flow. A shield of blue light flared up around me and my son, forming a barrier between us and the attacker. I could hear the armored figure slam into it, metal clanging, sparks flying. My hands shook, but I didn't let go. Then, from the shadows, the intruders in black vehicles started advancing, their figures emerging slowly, cautiously, wary of the strange energy surrounding us. I could see their surprise, their fear. The box pulsed again, stronger this time. And I realized it wasn't just a weapon, it was alive. Responding to our fear, our desperation, our will to survive. I looked at my son. "We have to get to the street. We can't stay here." He nodded, clutching my arm. "But how?" "They're everywhere." I took a deep breath and felt the box pulse again, this time with warmth, guiding us. A faint path of light opened in the darkness, illuminating the way toward the street. The armored figure hesitated, clearly sensing the power radiating from us. I didn't waste a second. We ran, the blue light from the box illuminating the night like a beacon. Keeping the attackers at bay. As we reached the edge of the yard, I felt the presence behind us intensify. The armored figure had recovered and was pursuing us again faster than ever. The intruders in black vehicles closed in from the front and sides. My son stumbled, almost falling, and I grabbed him, pulling him forward. Suddenly, the box emitted a burst of energy, stronger than before, knocking the armored figure back several feet. Sparks flew, the air crackled, and for the first time I realized the full power of what we were holding. But I also knew it was dangerous, unpredictable. I could feel it straining against my grip, demanding control. I shouted to my son, "Hold on tight. We're not done yet." We reached the street, the blue light from the box casting long shadows on the pavement. The black vehicles screeched to a halt, their engines roaring. Figures jumped out, surrounding us. But they stopped when they saw the armored figures struggling against the energy barrier. I could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. Every second counted. Every step we took could be our last. And I realized then this was far bigger than just our home, our family, or even the box. Whoever was after us, they wanted something powerful, something ancient, something that we now carried. The armored figure recovered again, its glowing eyes locking onto me, and a voice echoed in my mind, metallic and harsh. "You cannot escape. The box belongs to us." I felt the blue energy surge again, protective but unstable. My son clutched my arm, trembling, and I knew we had only seconds to act. And then, without warning, the streetlights flickered and went out. The world plunged into darkness, except for the pulsating blue light of the box, and in that darkness, I could feel them closing in from all sides. I still remember that day. The street plunged into darkness, the world around us disappearing except for the pulsating blue light of the box in my hands. My son held on to me tightly, his small frame trembling, and I felt a surge of protectiveness unlike anything I had ever known. The armored figure and the black-clad intruders were all around us, moving silently, cautiously. But their intent was clear. They were closing in. The blue light from the box pulsed again, stronger, almost alive, filling the street with an ethereal glow. I realized that it wasn't just protecting us, it was guiding us, responding to our fear, our will to survive. I could feel it humming in my chest, vibrating with energy, and for a moment I understood. This wasn't just a box. It was power, a force that could shift the balance between life and death. The armored figure spoke again, its metallic voice reverberating in the empty street. "You cannot hide from what belongs to us. Give it or face the consequences." I shook my head, gripping the box tighter. "No, we won't give it to you. You don't know what it is or what it can do." My voice was firm, trembling, but unyielding. The figure lunged faster than before. I held the box forward instinctively, and the blue energy surged, forming a protective barrier around us. Sparks shot into the air, illuminating the dark street, and I felt a sudden rush of strength. My fear was still there, but it no longer controlled me. I realized we had a chance. Maybe even a fighting chance, my son whispered. "Mom, it's responding to you. It's like it knows you." I didn't have time to answer. The armored figure struck again, and this time I felt the force of it pushing me back. The box pulsed violently, almost as if it was alive, and the air around us crackled. I could see the intruders hesitate, uncertain, afraid of the energy emanating from it. Then I noticed movement in the shadows, figures stepping forward, drawn by the light. Not intruders, not enemies. Allies. My heart skipped a beat. Somehow they had come. I didn't know who they were, but they moved with purpose, circling the armored figure, distracting it, giving me a moment to breathe. The blue light surged again, stronger than ever, and I felt it communicate something to me, not words, but a feeling, power, clarity, and the ability to protect. I realized I could fight. I realized I didn't have to run anymore. The armored figure roared a metallic shriek that echoed down the empty street. It lunged one last time, faster than any human should move. But this time, I was ready. I raised the box, letting the energy flow through me. A beam of blue light shot out, striking the figure. It staggered, sparks flying, and for the first time I saw hesitation in its glowing eyes. My son looked at me, eyes wide. "Mom, you did it." I shook my head, focusing on the energy, controlling it as best as I could. "We're not safe yet," I said. "We have to move." Now we ran, the box pulsing in my hands, the energy forming a protective barrier around us. The intruders retreated, unwilling to cross the force emanating from the box. The armored figure disappeared into the shadows, defeated. For now, as we reached the edge of the street, I finally allowed myself to breathe. My son looked at me, his face pale but relieved. "Mom, what? What was that?" I shook my head, still catching my breath. "I don't know yet, but whatever this is, it's ours to protect. And it just saved our lives." We ducked into a nearby alley, hearts pounding, minds racing. I held the box tightly, feeling its hum vibrating through my body. The night was still dark, still dangerous, but for the first time I felt a spark of hope. We had survived. But the battle was far from over, and then a shadow fell across the alley. I froze. My son froze. A voice low and chilling whispered, "You think this is over? You have no idea what you're dealing with." I still remember that day. The shadow that fell across the alley made my blood run cold. The blue light from the box trembled in my hands, casting strange flickering patterns on the brick walls. My son clutched my arm, his face pale, eyes wide with fear. We had just survived what I thought was the worst, and yet here it was again. Something or someone waiting for us. The figure stepped closer. This time, it wasn't the armored intruder from before. No, this one moved differently, graceful, deliberate, almost inhuman. Its presence carried authority, danger, and something I couldn't place, like it knew us intimately, like it had been waiting for the moment we would escape the first attack. A low voice echoed from the shadows, calm but menacing. "You have the box. You survived the first trial. But survival alone will not protect you. You do not understand its power or the danger you face." My son whispered, trembling, "Mom, what is it? Who is it?" I didn't answer. My eyes were fixed on the figure, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Its face was hidden under a hood, but its presence, its power, filled the alley. I could feel it vibrating through my chest, through the box, through my very being. I realized then that this was no ordinary enemy. This was someone or something that knew exactly what the box was, what it could do, and most importantly, what it had been waiting for. I held the box closer. "I don't know what you want," I said, voice trembling but firm. "We're not giving it to you. We're protecting it. We're protecting our lives." The figure moved slowly, deliberately, its hooded face tilting slightly. "Protection is a dangerous illusion," it said. "The power you hold is beyond comprehension. You have survived because it chose you, but others will come, stronger, relentless. And if you cannot control it, it will consume you and everyone you love." My heart pounded. Control it? How? We don't know how. The figure stepped closer, and I could feel the air around us shift. The energy from the box surged, responding to the fear, the tension, the uncertainty. Sparks flickered across my hands, across the alley. I could feel it trying to communicate, to guide, but also warning me, urging me to act carefully. My son whispered, "Mom, we need to move. It's too dangerous here." I nodded, keeping the box pressed against my chest. Every instinct screamed to run, but I hesitated. There was something about this figure. It wasn't attacking. It was testing, judging, waiting to see what we would do. Suddenly, a sound came from the end of the Aaliyah's soft, deliberate clap. My blood ran cold. More figures were emerging, stepping from the shadows. The black vehicles, the intruders, and something new, all converging on us. The figure in front of us didn't move, didn't speak, but I could feel its anticipation. Like a predator watching its prey, I held the box tighter. Son, we have to be ready. Whatever happens next, we fight. Together. He nodded, gripping my hand, eyes filled with both fear and trust. The hooded figure raised a hand, and a wave of energy shot out, knocking us back slightly. The alley seemed smaller now, walls closing in, shadows dancing violently. Its voice boomed in my mind. Use it or be destroyed. You have the choice, but you do not yet understand what it demands. I felt the box pulse violently in response, as if it understood the danger, the urgency. My body shook, my fear threatening to overwhelm me, but I forced myself to focus. This was no longer just about survival. This was about understanding, controlling, and protecting the power that could change everything. And then, from the shadows behind us, something moved faster than I could see. A figure or many figures rushing straight toward us, intent on seizing the box. I clutched the box tighter, heart pounding, and whispered to my son, "Hold on. Whatever happens, we survive this. Together. Still remember that day?" The moment the shadowy figures surged toward us, the alley seemed to shrink, the walls pressing in like they wanted to crush us. My chest heaved, my hands trembled, but I held the box close, feeling it pulse violently in response to the danger. My son's grip on my arm was tight, and I could feel his fear mixing with mine, creating a bond stronger than anything I'd known before. The hooded figure stood in front of us, calm and still, its energy radiating like a shield. "You have survived until now," it said, voice low and resonant. "But you cannot survive without understanding. Use the power within the box, or everything will be lost." I shook my head. "I don't know how. I'm just me." "I'm not. I can't." The figure raised its hand, and suddenly the alley was filled with visions, flashes of light, shadows moving in impossible patterns, whispers of knowledge I couldn't fully grasp. The box pulsed in my hands, responding, urging me to focus, to feel, to act. My son tugged at my sleeve. "Mom, they're getting closer." I looked up. The figures rushing at us were almost upon us now. Their intentions were clear. They wanted the box no matter the cost. I could see the malice in their movements, the determination to take what was ours. My fear surged. But something inside me's, something the box was teaching me, slickered to life. I took a deep breath and let the energy flow through me. The blue light from the box expanding, forming a protective aura around us. The attackers slammed into it. Their momentum halted, stumbling back. Sparks flew from the contact, the air vibrating with power. I felt the energy in my chest, the pulse of the box in my hands, and I realized I could control it, Mom. "You're doing it!" My son shouted, eyes wide with awe. I focused harder, letting the energy respond to my fear, my anger, my will to protect. The aura expanded, pushing the attackers back further, forcing them to retreat. I felt exhilaration, power, and terror all at once. The hooded figure's presence was still there, watching, guiding, and judging. "You are learning, but not yet enough," it said. "This power is not just a weapon. It is a responsibility. Misuse it, and it will consume you. Control it, and it will protect what you hold dear." I nodded, trying to steady myself. My son held my hand tighter. "We have to keep moving, Mom. We can't stay here." I glanced at the alley entrance. The street beyond was dark, but it offered a chance, maybe the only chance to escape. The attackers regrouped, their movements faster, more coordinated. I could feel their desperation, their intent to overwhelm us. I gritted my teeth. We fight, then run. Together, whatever happens, we survive. The blue light from the box flared, stronger than before, and the attackers were thrown backward by the sheer force of it. The hooded figure stepped forward, closer than ever, and I could feel its judgment, its power, and its expectation. "You are ready for the first test," it said. "But the true threat comes not from them, but from those who wait beyond this alley. They will not stop. They will not relent. And the box will demand a choice from you that may change everything. My son swallowed hard, fear written all over his face. Mom, what does it mean? I shook my head, feeling the weight of the box in my arms. I don't know yet. But whatever comes next, we face it. Together. And then, as we stepped out of the alley, the streetlights flickered back on, revealing an army of figures waiting, stretching as far as the eye could see, all surrounding us, all intent on the box. I still remember that day. Stepping into the open street, the blue light of the box cutting through the darkness like a beacon of hope and warning. My son's hand was locked in mine, trembling, and I could feel the weight of fear and responsibility pressing down on both of us. The army waiting ahead seemed endless, shadows stretching across the pavement, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. I gripped the box tighter, feeling its energy pulse in sync with my heartbeat. The hooded figure had not moved with the army. It stood a few steps behind, silent, watching, judging. Its presence was calm, but the tension in the air was unbearable. I whispered to my son, "Stay close. No matter what happens, we survive this. Together." He nodded, swallowing hard. Mom, how do we even fight them? There's too many. I didn't answer. I didn't have words. All I had was the box, the power humming in my hands, and the determination that had been growing inside me since that night. I had survived impossible things before, but this was something else. The first wave of attackers surged forward, their movements swift and precise. But as soon as they reached the glowing aura of the box, they were thrown back violently, staggered by the force radiating from it. I realized the box wasn't just defending us, it was controlling the space around us, pushing away danger, responding to my fear, my will to survive. My son gasped. It's alive. I think it is, I whispered, heart racing. And it's protecting us because we need it too. The hooded figure stepped forward, raising a hand. Control it, or it will control you. Every action has a consequence. Every choice you make now will shape what comes next. I felt the weight of that statement. The box pulsed stronger, almost violently. I could feel it testing me, gauging my control. Every fiber of my being wanted to give in to fear, to panic, to run. But I held firm. I had to protect my son. I had to survive. The second wave of attackers advanced faster and more coordinated than the first. I could see their determination, their hunger to take the box. My son looked at me, eyes wide. Mom, what if we can't stop them all? I shook my head, setting my jaw. We stop them. Or we die trying. And we survive. Together. I focused on the box, feeling the energy surge through me. I could sense the attackers' movements, almost like the box was guiding me. I raised it, and a wave of blue energy exploded outward, knocking several of them to the ground. Sparks danced in the air, the energy creating a barrier that pulsed with my heartbeat. The hooded figure watched silently, and then, in a voice that was both calm and terrifying, said, "They are not your only enemies. The true threat has yet to appear. When it does, you will have to make a choice that could change everything. Nothing is what it seems, and nothing can be trusted," my son gasped. Mom, what choice? I didn't have an answer. All I could do was hold the box, feeling its pulse, feeling its connection to me, and knowing that we had survived this far only because it wanted us to. But the fear in the pit of my stomach told me that our survival was only temporary. The real danger, the one that would test everything we believed about ourselves, and the box was coming from the far end of the street. A shadow moved faster than anything I had ever seen. A presence so powerful, so dark, that even the blue glow of the box seemed to flicker in its presence. I could feel its intent, its hunger, its will to destroy us. I gripped the box tighter, feeling it hum violently as if it recognized the threat. My son clutched my arm, eyes wide with terror. The hooded figure's voice whispered in my mind, calm but deadly. Prepare yourself. The moment of truth has arrived. And then the shadow stepped into the light, revealing a figure taller than any human. eyes glowing like molten fire, and I realized with a chill that this was the one we had been running from all along. I still remember that day. The moment the towering figure stepped into the light, its presence crushing, oppressive. My chest felt tight, my legs weak, but I gripped the box tightly, its blue light pulsing violently in response to the danger. My son held my hand, trembling, his eyes wide with terror. And I realized that we were staring down something far beyond anything we had faced before. The figure's eyes glowed like molten fire, burning through the darkness, and I could feel its power radiating like a wave, pressing against my mind, testing me, daring me to falter. The intruders we had fought before were nothing compared to this. This was the source, the one who had sent them. The one who had been hunting the box all along. I whispered to my son, "Stay close. Whatever happens, we survive this. Together." He nodded, gripping my arm tighter. "Mom, it's huge. How do we fight that?" I didn't answer. I didn't know how. All I could do was hold the box, feel its energy thrumming in my hands, and pray it would guide us. The hooded figure from earlier stepped forward, their presence calm, almost serene amid the chaos. "This is the test," it said. "The one you now face is the true enemy. The box chose you. But to survive, you must understand its power fully. You must act, or all will be lost." I felt the box hum, violently vibrating as if it were alive, aware, and responding to the presence of the enemy. Sparks of blue energy shot into the air, forming a protective aura around me and my son. I realized with awe and fear that the box was not just defending us, was communicating, urging me to focus, to connect, to act. The towering figure stepped closer, and the ground trembled beneath its feet. Its voice, low and thunderous, echoed in my mind. "You cannot stop me. The box belongs to me. Hand it over, or be destroyed." I swallowed hard, gripping the box tighter. "No, it's ours. I don't know how, but I won't let you take it." The figure laughed, a deep, hollow sound that made my teeth ache. "Foolish. You do not understand what you hold. You have survived only because it allowed you to. Soon, you will face its true test." I could feel the blue energy from the box responding, spreading, enveloping the space around us. The air crackled thick with power. My son whispered, voice shaking, "Mom, it's reacting to it." "What does it want?" "I don't know," I admitted, my voice barely audible over the hum of the energy. "But we have to trust it. We have no choice." The towering figure raised its hands, and waves of darkness surged toward us. The intruders and the army we had faced before were gone, as if swallowed by the presence of this new enemy. It was just us, the box, and this unimaginable force. I took a deep breath and focused, letting the energy from the box flow through me. The blue aura expanded, brighter than ever, and I felt a connection to it like it was part of me, guiding me, lending me strength. The enemy roared, and I felt the power of its presence like a weight on my soul. The air shimmered with energy, and the shadows around us twisted and writhed. I realized then that the battle would not be just physical, it would test our minds, our hearts, our very will to survive. I looked at my son. "Hold on. We have to face this together." He nodded, tears streaming down his face. "I'm ready, Mom, as long as we're together." The box pulsed violently, as if responding to our resolve, and I raised it, letting the blue energy form a shield, a weapon, a lifeline, and then, with a sound like the breaking of the earth itself, the towering figure lunged, its molten eyes locked on the box and on us. I still remember that day. The moment the towering figure lunged at us, the world seemed to shatter around me. The blue light from the box exploded, illuminating the dark street with a brilliance that made my eyes water. Sparks of energy danced across the pavement, and the air vibrated with a force I had never felt before. My son screamed, clutching my arm, and I could feel my own fear boiling into a fierce determination. The box pulsed violently in my hands, almost alive, responding to the threat before us. It wasn't just protecting us anymore, it was fighting with us, lending me strength I didn't know I had. I felt it guiding my movements, anticipating the enemy's strikes. The towering figure's molten eyes glowed brighter, and its voice thundered in my mind. You cannot control what you do not understand. Surrender the box or be destroyed. I shook my head, forcing my fear aside. No, we survive. Together. I shouted, feeling the energy surge through me, forming a shield that pushed the enemy back. The blue light expanded, blinding and brilliant. And I realized for the first time that I could manipulate it, direct it, focus it, wield it. My son's eyes widened. Mom, you're controlling it. I nodded, heart hammering. I think I can. The enemy lunged again, faster, stronger, but I met it with the energy from the box. Waves of blue light struck it, and for a moment I thought we had driven it back. But the figure was relentless, shrugging off the blows, closing in with a terrifying speed. I could feel its intent to destroy, to take the box, to consume everything we were fighting to protect. The hooded figure stepped closer, voice calm yet urgent. You must focus. The box responds to your will, your fear, your courage. But it is not just power, it is a test. To survive, you must understand its true purpose. I clutched the box tighter, letting the energy flow into me, through me, and around us. Sparks of light exploded, and I could hear the enemy's shrieks echoing in the night. My son held on to me, tears streaming down his face, but also a fierce determination I hadn't seen before. Mom, we can do this. Together. He shouted. I nodded, drawing courage from his faith in me. The blue energy pulsed violently, surging outward, forming tendrils of light that wrapped around the enemy, slowing it, containing it, but not destroying it entirely. I realized then that the box was not a weapon of destruction. It was a force of balance, of protection, of choice. The towering figure roared, molten eyes blazing, but I could feel it struggling, sensing the connection between me, the box, and my son. My heart pounded in my chest, my hands ached, but I refused to let go. Suddenly, the streetlights flickered again, and shadows stretched unnaturally. I could hear whispers, warnings, guidance, memories of the box, as if it were showing me everything I needed to know. The power was immense, overwhelming, and yet it was ours that the enemy recoiled, staggering under the energy, and for the first time I saw hesitation in its molten eyes. But I knew it was not defeated. Not yet, my son gasped. Mom, it's changing. I looked at the box. The blue energy flared brighter than ever, illuminating the night, forming a protective dome around us. I realized then that this was the moment of choice, the moment that would define everything, and just as I took a step forward, ready to face the enemy fully, the towering figure lunged again, faster, stronger, its molten energy colliding with the box's light in a blinding explosion that threw us both to the ground. I still remember that day. The blinding explosion of light, the deafening roar that shook the street, and the weight of fear pressing down on my chest like a boulder. My son screamed, thrown against the pavement by the force of the clash between the box's blue energy and the towering figure's molten power. Pain shot through my arms as I clutched the box. But I refused to let go. The street around us was chaos, sparks flying, shadows writhing, concrete cracking beneath the immense energy. The blue light of the box expanded uncontrollably, pulsing with my heartbeat, almost alive, almost sentient. I realized then that the box was responding to everything: the fear, the courage, the desperation, and most importantly, my will to protect my son and survive. The towering figure rose, molten eyes blazing, energy surging like a storm. You cannot contain me. Give it or perish. I shook my head, gritting my teeth. No, I won't let you take it. Not now, not ever. The box pulsed violently, and I felt its energy flowing through my body. My mind cleared, fear giving way to determination. For the first time, I understood this wasn't just power. This was choice, responsibility, and protection. The box was alive, yes, but it was alive because it needed a guardian. Someone willing to face fear and fight for what mattered. My son crawled to my side, clutching my arm. "Mom, we can do this." "Together," he whispered, tears streaking his face. I nodded, pulling him close. "Yes, together. Always together." The towering figure lunged again, molten energy blazing. I raised the box, letting the blue light surge forward, forming a barrier around us. The collision was immense, energy and heat blasting outward, forcing me to my knees. Sparks hit my face, my clothes scorched, but I held firm. The blue light surged again, stronger, expanding into a dome that enveloped us both. And then I saw it. The box's energy wasn't just defensive, it was revealing something. Symbols, shapes, patterns of light showing me the truth about the enemy, the intruders, and the reason they had come. The figure froze as if sensing the revelation. You cannot comprehend what you hold." It roared, molten energy flickering in frustration. But I did comprehend. I could feel it, understand it, control it. The box was a force of protection, not destruction. It could overwhelm any enemy, but only if wielded with courage, clarity, and heart. I took a deep breath, focusing on the connection, on the blue energy, on my son beside me. We protect what matters, together, always. I whispered. The blue light surged in response, wrapping around the towering figure, binding it, restraining it without harming us. Its molten eyes flared in fury, but the energy held firm. I felt a calm clarity in my chest, a quiet power. The knowledge that we could survive if we trusted each other and trusted the box. The figure thrashed violently, but the energy pulsed stronger, almost as if it had chosen me as its master, its protector. Slowly, the street grew quiet, the chaos fading, sparks extinguishing. The towering enemy, defeated for now, retreated into the shadows, its molten eyes fading, but its threat lingering. I sank to my knees, exhausted, shaking, but alive. My son hugged me, crying with relief. We did it. "Mom," I held him tightly, looking at the box still pulsing softly in my hands. I realized then that we had survived not because of luck, but because of courage, trust, and the strange, powerful bond with this mysterious force. But even as relief washed over me, a whisper echoed in my mind, soft, almost imperceptible, yet filled with meaning. The test is not over. The choices you make next will shape everything. I still remember that day. The quiet after the chaos. The way the street smelled of scorched pavement and electricity. And the soft pulsing of the box in my hands. My son clung to me, exhausted but alive, and I felt a wave of relief wash over me. We had survived the impossible, faced the unimaginable, and yet something inside me told me our journey wasn't quite over. The hooded figure reappeared, stepping from the shadows. I tensed, unsure if it was friend or foe, but it spoke calmly. "You have learned to wield the power. You have survived the trial, but the choices you make now will define everything." I looked at my son, who nodded at me, silent understanding in his eyes. I realized then that the box was not just a weapon, nor a mere object of power. It was a test, a force that sought a guardian who could face fear, protect what mattered, and make the right choices even when the path was unclear. I took a deep breath, feeling the energy flowing through me. I understood its true purpose. Not destruction, not dominance, but protection, balance, and responsibility. The towering enemy we had faced. It was a shadow of chaos, seeking to disrupt that balance. And now, because we had faced it with courage and unity, we had proven ourselves worthy of the box's trust. The hooded figure nodded once and stepped back into the shadows, leaving us alone. The street was quiet, the danger gone. For now, I held the box, feeling it settle, pulsing softly, almost like it was alive, breathing with us. Part of us, my son, looked up at me, eyes wide. "Mom, what do we do now?" I smiled, tired but resolute. "We protect what matters, son. We live, we grow stronger, and we never forget what we've learned. The box will guide us, but we are the ones who make the choices." We walked down the street together, the soft glow of the box lighting our path. The danger had passed, but the lessons remained: courage in the face of fear, trust in each other, and the knowledge that even the most unimaginable power can be controlled when wielded with heart. I still remember that night. The moment I realized that survival was never just about avoiding danger, was about facing it together and emerging stronger on the other side. And I knew that no matter what came next, we would face it side by side. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Every one of you has a little courage inside you, a little strength, and sometimes, just sometimes, the power to protect what matters most, just like we did.